In this episode, we're going to take a look at some important commands for the NURBS surface. To use it, go to Surface and let's open the command list. There are a lot of commands under the command list looks the same or similar like the commands in curves list here. For example, we got attach curve, detach curve. We also got attach surface and detach surface commands here. And under curves commands, we got extend. Also, we got extend under surface commands. And we have the rebuild, reverse direction under surface, and under curves we got rebuild curve and the reverse direction for curve. A NURBS surface like this, it got directions along the surface. And how do we tell it? Select the surface, go to component mode, for example the CV mode. Then let's look at the corner of this surface, and we'll find there's a corner looks like a little square. That's the start point of this surface. And then it goes two directions. One is U directions. Another is V directions. So there are two directions on a NURBS surface, U direction and V direction. If we go to isopone mode, we can pick up any isopones along V directions or U directions. For example, I'm going to pick up one isopone from the U direction by clicking one isopone here. Hold down your left mouse and drag. Then you can pick up any isopones along U direction. And of course, if we pick the V direction isopones, we can also select any one of them or some of them by holding down Shift. So actually there are countless isopones along the surface, and you can see the surface as it was created by the countless isopones or the countless curves on it. So I'm going to tell you how to reversely create a surface like this by just using a few curves to create them. But before we start, I'm going to tell you one more thing about the structure of NURBS surface. Just like curves, NURBS surface also got the span numbers for U direction and V direction. Here we can see there are two NURBS surfaces in this scene. Now they look the same, but they got different span numbers. And we can check it by selecting one of them and go to Ctrl A, open the attribute editor. Okay, and you see the number of the spans is over here. The spans numbers U and V. So it got 3 spans along the U direction and 3 spans along the V direction. But how about this one? It actually got more span numbers. Okay, the surface here got 8 by 8 on the UV numbers. Okay, so it got more spans. Of course, it looks smoother, but also it got more control vertex on the surface, and it'll be more difficult to edit. So the more span numbers you have, the smoother the surface will be, but the more data, the more control vertex you will also get. There are 4 curves in this scene, and all of them are created by the original curve from here. Let me turn off the grid. Okay. And if I select them and hit F8, we'll see they have the same number of spans, the same number of CVs, and that is important for me right now. Okay. If you select it from left to right in order, select them one by one, and then go to Surface, Loft. Click it. Then you got a NURBS surface, but it looks reversed. The front side is over here. So that's the back side. That's why it looks so dark. That's okay. Let's delete it. This time, let's select it from another direction, from right to left. Also, select them one by one and go to Surface, Loft. And this time, we get a NURBS surface with the front side face to us. And that's what we want. Let's check the structure of this NURBS surface. Select it. As you can see, the isopounds match the positions of those curves that we just used. If we go to component mode by hit F8, and you'll see the control vertex on the surface. And the position of the control vertex also pretty much the same as the control vertex on curves. If you want to modify the NURBS surface, you can actually editing the shape of the curves. And sometimes if it is difficult for you to select them, for example, you want to pick up the curve, but you always picked up the surface first. That's because the selection priority. And actually you can turn off the selection mask for curves or for surface by going here. Let's see this selection mask. If you don't see them, just click out this line here, the hidden menu, until you see a list of the selection masks. And let me click off the surface mask, so I won't select the surface again. I can only select other things, for example curves. So if I edit the curve, go to control vertex mode and select the vertex here and move the vertex, and you can see the surface changed with the vertex. That's because the NURBS surface got the history of loft on it. And we just use those 4 curves and with the loft commands to create this surface. So they have the connection, and so we are be able to edit the surface by editing the curves. There are different ways to create NURBS planes in Maya. And of course, the easiest one is through the icon under the surface shelf and the NURBS surface here to create a NURBS plane. Click it, and we get a rectangle plane here. Go to the history, and you can add some more numbers here to add the patches along the U direction like this, or the patches along V direction like this. And it will change the structure of this plane and give you more control vertex on it so that you can edit the surface like this. But after you edit the surface, don't go back and change the numbers again. Otherwise, it will also change the shape and make some unpredictable results. Okay. And what if we want to create a NURBS plane like this with round edge or some irregular edges? We can use planar command. Let's delete them. Go to curved surface. Just create a circle. Scale it up. Okay. And the circle must be flat. Then we go to surface, planar. Click it. We'll get a NURBS plane. But it looks dark. Okay. Let's do one more thing to reverse it by going to surface, reverse direction. And now we got a NURBS plane like this. If we go to the control vertex mode, we can still see there are a lot of control vertex on the plane. And actually, it is still a square structure. If we change the vertex on the circle like this, for example, I raise it, and the plane will disappear because the curve is no longer a flat circle. You got some dimension on it. It's no longer a 2D flat circle. That's why. And once you make them go back in a same surface, along the same surface, then this plane will show up again. We can also apply planar on this irregular shape of a curve. So let's select the curve. As long as it is flat, we can go to surface, planar, and create a plane. Then we select this plane and go to surface, reverse direction to reverse it. Done. Sometimes we don't need curves to do this job. We can also use isopones. In this case, this is the NURBS cylinder, and let's go to isopone and just select the isopone on the edge. Then go to surface, planar. He created a plane for us. Let's talk about revolve. You can use revolve to create some simple shapes like cup or dish, or a complex shape like table leg. So let's see how it works. Let's start a new scene and go to front view. I'm going to use the EP curve tool to draw a profile curve of the model that I'm going to create. In this case, a cup with thickness. So let's go to EP curve tool and hold down X to activate the snapped grid function. Then click on the grid, for example here. Then release the X button. Then click on the grid like this. Finally, hold down X to snap to grid again and click in the middle. When you're finished, hit enter. That's the profile of a cup. And we can adjust the profile a little bit. Okay. it looks like this. Then go to Surface, Revolve. Let's go to the dialog box and edit, reset settings to go back to default settings. So by default, the revolve axis is along the y-axis. So this curve will turn 360 degrees and around the y-axis. Okay, so that's the 360 degrees here. You can also make it half. For example, typing 180 in here. That it will only make the half of the cup. Okay, but that's not what not what we want. So let's go back to 360, and then just hit revolve. So we'll keep everything in default actually, and then select the curve and hit revolve. Now you can see this is a cup, but the surface is reversed again. So let's delete this cup. Okay, we can select this curve and go to curves, reverse directions. So it will reverse the direction of this curve. So now the curve starts from here and then end here. Remember, when we start to draw this profile, we start from here. So that's where the start point is, but now we change the direction of the cup profile, so the start point goes to here. Alright, let's revolve it again and see what happened. Click revolve, and now we got a normal cup like this. But I'm not satisfied with the shape, so I'm going to adjust or modify the curve to shape this cup better. So let's click the profile curve. Go to control vertex mode, and actually I can activate the X-ray mode here, so the model become transparent, so I can see more clearly inside the cup. As you can see, when I adjust the CV point, the shape changes. That's because the history of revolve. So for example, I want this part to be thicker a little bit. Maybe inside the cup like this. Click off the X-ray mode, okay, and go back to the object mode. So if you're happy with this shape, select the model, delete history. Now you keep the shape, okay, but you also delete history, so you can no longer to model this cup with this curve. If I change the CV point like this, okay, this cup won't change again because we deleted history. Let's open another new scene, and this time I'm going to create a dish with thickness, and the dish model is even simpler than cup model. Okay, go to front view, click EP curve tool again, hold down X to snap the grid, and then click on the grid along the y-axis. This time I click here, and then release your X button and start to draw. Okay, place the last point along the y-axis. So hold down X button again to snap the grid, and snap the grid here, hit enter, then just move the CV curve, CV point up a little bit like this, Actually, I want to make the bottom flat. So select this 4 point, go to scale, and then just flat it by scaling it along y-axis like this. And then move this point out a little bit, and then change the CV point position. Okay. Then select this curve and go to revolve. Okay, you can click a button here, and we got a reversed surface again. So let's delete the surface and then reverse these curve directions. Right, go to curves, reverse directions, and then select this curve again, click revolve again. Right. So I think this dish is a little bit tall, so I select the profile. First, I lower the profile until it touches the x-axis. Okay, and then maybe I can scale it down a little bit like this, and scale it along x-axis. Go to X-ray mode and see how it looks. I think it looks okay. Okay, then that's click off the X-ray mode and check the shape. Okay, now we have a dish. Of course, you can make more dishes by changing the shape of the curve. If you want to keep this shape, you can Control D to duplicate it and move it aside. Okay, so the duplicate one, it won't change with the curve. See, for example, if I change this curve, I will only change the shape here. So it makes it easier to create more shapes of dishes. For example, this time I'll create, actually I've turned off the selection mask for surface, so I'll just select the profile curve. Maybe this time I'm going to make it taller, so like this, taller or smaller. Right, so if you're happy with this shape, just select surface again, Control D to duplicate it, move it aside to keep it, and just keep on modeling the profile curve and create more different shapes, more different dishes. So you can have a couple of dishes in this scene. If you want to create some complex shape like table legs in this reference picture, okay, you can also use revolve. And I'm going to use revolve to create the shape here. And this part you can just use polygon to model this part, right? Because it looks square. You don't need surface. You don't need NURBS. You can just use polygon. So let's model this part. Go back to Maya and create the new scene. Go to front view. Use EV curve tool and start from maybe here. And don't make too much control vertex in the beginning. Keep that in mind. Okay, so you can just roughly draw a curve based on the reference. And if something happens like this, don't worry about it, just keep on drawing until you finish it. Enter, then go to control vertex mode, and you can move the vertex right now. And by the way, if it get complex in this part, like a lot of vertex, they overlapped it to each other, you can just select it and then by click W to go to the movie mode and use your arrow key left and right to change the order of your selection. So it will change in order. So we know if you click right, then you will go to the next control vertex and go to next, 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 next. So now we know this one doesn't belong to here, okay? Because this point, if you click right, it goes to next, which is here, and then next, 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 next. So this one, okay, this one belongs to here. See? And then this one should be here. All right. Let's revolve it first. Then we can adjust the shape later. And again, let's just reverse the curve's direction by go to curves, reverse direction, then click revolve to create a shape like this, and then add the curve in the front view. Let me click off the selection mask and then select control vertex of the curve, and I think this part is a little bit too big. Okay. Then actually there is another control vertex inside here, but you cannot see it. You can activate X-ray mode so you can see more vertex inside and pick up them easily. Here. Make these three vertex flat and goes down to touch the ground. Alright, I think that's it. I'll leave this this line alone. Okay, I can edit it later on, but not now. So I'll just make the basic shape of the table legs like this. Alright, if you like it, select the NURBS surface and delete history to keep the shape. Okay. There's another way to create NURBS surface from curves with spiral tools. So as you can see, this surface actually it is created from these 5 curves. So let's see how it works. The spiral tool is under surface, spiral, and there are 3 different tools here: spiral 1, spiral 2, and spiral 3 plus tool. Let's start from spiral 1. To use spiral 1 tool, all you need is 3 curves. Okay, one is for the profile of the NURBS surface. The other 2 are the trail over the edge of the NURBS surface. Okay, so click spiral 1 tool to activate this tool. Then first click on the profile curve. Then click the path 1 and path 2 to finish this job. And suddenly you get a NURBS surface like this. Okay, then of course you can model or you can shape the NURBS surface by change the profile curve or change the path curve, okay, because of the history. That's Bibrail 1 tool. Next, Bibrail 2 tool. Bibrail 2 tool works with 4 curves. For example, we got 4 curves here. And by the way, Bibrail tools only works with the curves touch with each other. Yeah. So we got 4 curves here. They touch with each other in the end here. And we can take these 2 curves as the profile curves and these 2 curves as the path curves. Or also we can take these 2 curves as the profile curves and these 2 curves as the path tools. Either way will do. So, okay, so select the profile first using the Bibrail tool. Okay, then select profile curve first. So, profile 1, profile 2. Hit enter. Then tell Maya which one is the path curve. So that's the path curve 1 and path curve 2. Now we got a NURBS surface, but it looks reversed. So we can just select the NURBS surface and go to Surface, Reverse Direction to fix this problem. Of course, change the contour vertex for the profile curves to change the shape, or the path curves. And now I'm going to show you one thing. First, let me color this surface with red color to create a red Lambert, and select the NURBS surface. Assign the Lambert to it. We call that Bibrail 2 and the surface 1. Okay. You can hide it by selecting it and Ctrl H to hide it. Okay. Then let's use Bibrail 2 tool again, and this time we'll start from these 2 curves as the profile curve. So tell Maya these 2 curves are the profile curve and hit enter. Next, select the path curve. Okay, then we create another NURBS surface. They almost look the same. You can color this surface as green color. So create another Lambert material and pick up a green color, and then select this surface. Right click on the Lambert 3, then assign material to viewport selection. Assign the material to this surface. Okay, let's call this surface as Bibrail 2 surface 2, and let's compare with surface 1. Let's go to outliner, hide surface 1. Just select the surface 1 and shift H to unhide it. Okay. In this case, they looks almost the same. Okay, if something happens like this, it means they are overlapped together, or overlapping with each other. So don't worry about it. Just move one away from the other one. Okay. Don't make model overlap together. Okay. If I give these 2 curves a little bit of curvature and use Bibrail 2 tool again to test it, let's see what happened. Okay. First, select these 2 curves as the profile curve. Hit enter, and then select path 1, path 2. We got surface. Go to hyper shade and assign the red materials for it. Okay, call it surface 1. and then Ctrl H to hide it. Again, use Spiral Tool, and this time click these two curves first as the profile curve. Hit Enter, then select this curve and this curve as the path curve to create another surface, and we give it a green shader. Call it Surface 2. Then open up the outliner, unhide Surface 1. Okay. In this case, you'll see actually the green surface and the red surface, they are slightly a little bit different. Okay. So different selection order will also make a little bit difference for the surface that we create. Okay, keep that in mind. The last one, Spiral 3 Plus Tool. Spiral 3 Plus Tool work with more than 4 curves. So in this case, we got 5 curves here, and they should touch with each other. Go to Spiral 3 Plus Tool. Select the profile curves first, all of them. Then hit Enter. Then select Path 1 and Path 2. Then you got a NURBS surface. Also, you can work with more than 5 curves. So in this case, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 curves here. Okay. Use Spiral 3 Plus Tool. Select the profile first in order. Okay, and then hit Enter. Then select Path 1 and Path 2. You can project the curve on the surface, and the project curve will follow the shape of the surface. Okay. The cool thing is, when you move the original curve, it will change the projection, and then when you are happy with the results, you can duplicate the surface curve to make the project curve into a real curve. Let's see how it works. First, we need a NURBS surface so that we can project the curve on it. Then, of course, we need a NURBS curve. Let's just create a circle. Then move it up a little bit. Scale it up like this. Let's go to top view. Then add the contour vertex for the circle. Okay. If something happens like this, just click the B button to turn off it. That's the soft selection option. Okay. So we'll make an uneven shape like this. Alright. Maybe make it longer. Okay, go back to perspective view and see how it looks. Okay. And place this curve to wherever you want, and then go to top view. Select curve first, then shift select the surface. Go to surface, project curve on surface, and go to the dialog box. So the default settings for the project along axis is the active view. That's why we're under top view, because I'm going to project this curve on the surface along this top view. Okay. And then don't change anything, just hit project. go back to perspective view. Now you'll see there's a curve which is projected on the surface, and if you move the original curve, you also change the shape of the project curve. This curve will follow the surface. If you open up the outliner, you'll see there's only one NURBS curve here, which is this one. So the project curve is not a real curve. You got to select it and go to curves. Duplicate surface curves. Now you get a real curve. You can code it project curve. Okay, and this curve is the original one. Original curve. And this is the projected surface. You can still move this curve. Okay. Then the real curve will also change with the original curve until you delete history for it. So let's select project curve and delete history. Then we will no longer move this curve anymore, but it will still move the project curve. So we can still duplicate another surface curve, for example, like this. Select this one and duplicate another surface curve. Of course, delete history. Then create more curves they want to project. Okay, so that's the project curve on surface. Here, project curve on surface. The trim tool makes an empty space inside a NURBS surface, and the shape could be whatever you like as long as you can project it on the surface. And the Untrim tool will cancel the trim tool function and make the surface back to the original state, like this. Let's see how it works. To use a trim tool, you need to project curve on surface first. I'll just use the example from my last tutorial. So let's go to top view, select the curve first, then shift select the surface, and then go to surface, project curve on surface to project a curve on this surface. Okay. Then select the original curve, click Ctrl H to hide it. Now we got two areas on this surface. Okay, this project curve split this NURBS surface into two areas, which is inside the curve and outside the curve. Let's select this NURBS surface first, then go to Surface, Trim Tool, and go to Dialog Box first. Now the surface turns into a wireframe mode, and you can clearly see that there are two different areas on the surface. Let's reset this tool. So by default, the select state is set to keep, which means wherever you click on the surface, it means you want to keep that area. So if I click outside of the curve here, then hit enter, I will make a hole. Okay. Let's undo it. Ctrl Z to undo it. And then go to the trim tool again. Actually, trim tool. So this time, if I click another area which is inside the curves, that means I want to keep this area. Then I hit enter. Now I kept this shape and delete the others. And if you're not happy with the result, you want to undo it, you can use Untrim Tool instead of just click undo. Okay, so select the surface first and then go to surface, untrim. It will untrim the results. So make this surface back to the original state. Let's look closer to the trimmed surface. And select the surface and go to control vertex mode. You will see there are some CV points here in the empty area. That's because the trim tool is not it doesn't delete the surface. It actually hides it. So the vertex are still there, but this area is just hidden by the trim tool. So if you change the control vertex, you can still shape the empty area, or you can still shape this hole. See that? We still got the original NURBS shape here. You just can't see it. Okay. If you want to pick the boundary of the hole, you cannot just use isoplane, because you cannot select it with isoplanes. Okay, isoplanes are the lines here and here, but not the outlines of the hole. Okay, so how do I select the outlines of this hole? Well, I can right click and you'll see a trim edge over here. Select the trim edge option and then click the edge of this hole. Okay, and now you see a yellow line. That's the trim edge. You can go to curves, duplicate surface curve to duplicate that edge and make it a real curve from the trimmed surface. Okay, so that's how I got a curve from this hole. You can extrude another surface and make a tube like this. But don't get confused with the command under the polygon modeling. We also got an extrude command here, but they works differently. Okay, the NURBS extrude allows you to extrude a surface along a path and then make it a pipe or a tube. And you can also scale its profile and make this tube bigger or smaller. Let's see how it works. First, you need to create a path. You can create it with the EP curve tool or the CV curve tool. And next, let me shift this path a little bit. Then create another circle as the profile. Just move this circle aside. So this is the profile of the NURBS tube that we are going to make. Select the profile first, shift select the path, and go to surface, extrude. And we can actually just click the command here and see what happened. So by default, the tube won't follow the path. And what I always do is I will select the surface, go to the extrude history. Then I turn on the fixed path. If you click in this blanket and then hit 1, you can 1 and enter, you can turn on this function. If you click 0, if you type in 0, and that will turn off this function. But now I want it to be on. So I turn on it and change the use component pivot to component pivot here. Now the shape or the NURBS tube follow the path, and I can scale the profile bigger or smaller, and the history will also change the thickness of this tube. Or I can even change the shape of the profile. For example, I go to the control vertex mode, and then I make it a square like this. Now the profile, it turns into square shape. Let's go back to perspective view and see what happens to the tube. Okay, this tube turns into like a square profile like this. So that's how extrude works. When you create a closed NURBS model like this, for example, a sphere, you can always see there is an isopon looks thicker than the others. That's the thing on this NURBS model. Let's select this sphere and go to the history. Select the end sweep and then middle mouse drag above the empty space. This will open this model to make a gap on the surface. If I want to change the position of the theme, I can use the move theme commands. For example, if I want to change the theme to here, I got to select isopon and then select the new isopon and then go to surface, move theme. Okay. And Maya will refresh the surface and make the theme here. Let's select another isopon and do it again by hit G for the last command. Okay. Now the theme changed to here.